Hi everyone, and welcome to my first official video. I've been a coaster enthusiast for the past 2 years, and I've been wanting to start my own channel for a while now. My roller coaster history extends much farther back than my time as an enthusiast, but it wasn't until 2 years ago that I fully understood the components that are incorporated into a great ride experience. I used to like roller coasters like Nitro and King Ka, simply because they were really tall and really fast. I did not account for variables such as airtime, laterals, intensity, pacing, and many other factors that are included in the world's most elite coasters. I had this GP mindset for much of my life, causing me to make laughable claims, such as Six Flags Great Adventure being the best theme park on the planet. I obviously no longer think this to be the case due to my many recent experiences. While I loved roller coasters growing up, my excitement towards riding them died down a bit as I got into my later teens and early 20s. For a period about 5 years, I visited Great Adventure maybe 3 times total, in addition to visiting 0 other theme parks. It was looking for a while like my existence as a coaster fan was going to come to an end, before really ever beginning. Insert 2018, my first trip back to Hershey Park in 9 years. I begrudgingly agreed to go with one of my friends, who grew up as a Hershey Park native. He never lived in Pennsylvania, but his family used to take semi-regular trips there. His nostalgia for Hershey Park sparked the idea for the trip, and I thought, why not? Thankfully, I decided to go, as this would open me up to a completely refreshed perspective on roller coasters. While much of the day was relatively average, we decided to finish our day with Sky Rush. Now, I had heard several people throughout the day raving about Sky Rush, saying things like it was better than both Nitro and King Ka combined, but I thought that to be ridiculous, and I chalked it up to be just noise. Well, I've never been so happy to be proven wrong, as Sky Rush quickly became, and remains to this day, my favorite ride. Not only that, it completely rejuvenated my interest in coasters as a hobby, passion, and lifestyle. That essentially leads into the topic of this video. While I've been on several other coasters in several other theme parks since that day, I wanted to discuss Hershey Park in its entirety, its pros, its cons, and why I think it's one of the most criminally underrated theme parks in the US. Hershey Park is located in Hershey, Pennsylvania, not far off Route 81, nor the Pennsylvania Turnpike. The area surrounding the park is scenically gorgeous, and the park itself is even better looking. It's not merely the theme of the park, as the general atmosphere has a certain charm to it that is matched by few other places in the country. Speaking of the theme though, as you've probably heard, or may have been able to guess, this Hershey Park is themed around Hershey chocolate. And the park does a pretty good job of incorporating this theme throughout their layout. Many of the shops, games, and smaller attractions and flat rides have an immersive Hershey theme. This includes their drop tower, many of their shops near the entrance gate and throughout the park, and their new for 2019 Reese's Cup Fusion. My one main gripe with the theme is that it is seemingly absent from a majority of their bigger rides, and it is not present on a single roller coaster. Hopefully the insertion of Candymonium will change that trend for the near future, but it is still a theme they can work on improving. Another minor problem I have with the theme is that I'm not a huge fan of chocolate. Maybe it's because I'm in my mid-20s, but chocolate just doesn't seem to excite me the way some other themes do. Also, because the theme is chocolate, the main color is brown, which is just kinda ugly. Still, I classify this as a minor complaint, as I know that chocolate is definitely a theme that is widely loved by the kids, and the history of this park has a strong dedication to family orientation. The next thing I want to discuss is the pricing. Hershey Park has extremely affordable pricing. Their parking fees are $20 for general parking and $25 for preferred parking. Park admission is $49.95 for one day and $46 per day for 2 days if you buy your ticket online. For those who have been to a number of different parks throughout the country, or even just in the general region, you guys know how reasonable these prices are. Moving on to flat rides. While most coaster enthusiasts, including myself, really only concern themselves with the coasters, I mean, let's face it, most of us are coaster enthusiasts, at least the people who are going to be watching this video. But it is important that a park put a certified effort into sustaining a solid collection of flat rides. These are the rides that are going to appeal to many of the families, particularly those with younger children, as they will likely not be tall or brave enough to ride many of the coasters. With that being said, Hershey Park has a decent collection of flat rides, including a total of 45 non-coaster rides. They've incorporated a large range of thrills such as a carousel, Ferris wheel, and sky ride for their younger visitors, all the way up to a drop tower, pendulum ride, and pirate ship rocker for the more intense thrill seekers. One more interesting detail is that Hershey Park's dedication to variability is that their drop tower attraction has 3 individual drop towers, including a small tower, a medium tower, and a large tower, one for each level of thrill the rider is looking for. And each tower is themed to a different type of chocolate, which makes it all the cooler. I mean, come on. So for all you families and younger guests out there who are listening, I really think Hershey Park has a lot for you guys as well. Even though me personally, I'm focused more on the roller coasters, I really think it has something for everyone. And I truly hope everyone who's listening takes this into consideration. Okay, now I want to get into the main subtopic of this video, the coasters. This is why many of you are watching, and honestly, in my opinion, this is what truly separates Hershey Park from most others. The park officially has 13 coasters, each of which seems to play a part in adding a certain type of value to the amusement experience. There is such a large variety in what I consider to be one of the most well-rounded coaster lineups in the country. This includes a kiddie coaster for the younger guests, an indoor spinning coaster, a Wild Mouse, a Vekoma Boomerang, a Mine Train, a Schwarzkopf Looper, a PTC Woody, 2 GCI Woodies, a B&M invert, and 3 intense Intamins for the ultimate thrill seekers. While I haven't ridden the kiddie coaster nor the indoor spinning coaster, I can safely say the rest of the lineup is top quality and offers an array of different experiences depending on what you prefer in a coaster or simply what you're in the mood for at any given moment. The Wild Mouse, Boomerang, Mine Train, Looper Coaster, and PTC Woody definitely offer a more moderate thrill level and are perfect for riders who may not quite be ready for the intense thrills, but are ready to take that next step and ride something bigger than the kiddie coaster. While these coasters are solid, I want to mainly focus on the top 6 at Hershey, including Wildcat, Lightning Racer, Great Bear, Fahrenheit, Storm Runner, and Sky Rush. Wildcat and Lightning Racer are the park's 2 GCI Woodies, and while they come from the same manufacturer, they offer very different ride experiences. Wildcat is probably the weak link in this upper tier of coasters, seeing how it is very rough, and it's been called for the RMC treatment by many, including myself. That being said, it's still a pretty fun ride, and I recommend riding it. Lightning Racer, however, is very smooth and super fun for everyone. It's also a racing coaster, which just adds to the enjoyment of the ride experience. Then we have Great Bear, Hershey Park's B&M invert. Although B&M rides are usually not my favorite, due to their general lack of intensity, I have to admit that Great Bear is definitely one of the more upper-tier B&M inverts, with a pretty decent size and uniquely outstretched layout. If you're a fan of B&M inverts, this is definitely one of the best. Now onto the top 3. Fahrenheit, Storm Runner, and Sky Rush. All Intamins, all intense, and all worth a pretty decent wait time. Fahrenheit is definitely the weakest of this 3, but it's still a really fun ride. It features a vertical lift hill, beyond vertical drop, 6 inversions, and a nice pop of ejector airtime at the end. This ride usually has the longest wait time in the park, aside from Great Bear maybe, most likely due to the fact that it's weaker in intensity in comparison with Storm Runner and Sky Rush, but that kind of makes it more popular to the general public. But that being said, I would definitely recommend waiting the hour or so at least once, as it's a ride experience worth accumulating. The number 2 in the park is Storm Runner. This Intamin features an intense hydraulic launch, propelling riders from 0 to 72 miles per hour in just 2 seconds flat. This immediately transitions into a 150-foot tall top hat, cresting into a 180-foot drop. This ride also features the world's only flying snake dive, and what I believe to be a dive loop. Enthusiasts, please comment below if the element immediately after the top hat is not a dive loop, as I'm not quite sure. The entire experience lasts only 30 seconds, but man does it pack a punch. This brings us to the number 1 spot, Sky Rush. As I mentioned earlier, this is not just my favorite ride in the park, it's my favorite ride overall. It features a level of intensity that I personally find unmatched by any other coaster I've ridden, and I'm including coasters such as Lightning Rod, Intimidator 305, and Steel Vengeance. There's just something about this ride that makes you feel as though you're going to fly out at every turn. It has a lot to do with the restraints. Most people hate the restraints, but I actually view them as one of the ride's greatest assets. I don't find them to be painful at all during the ride. Sometimes they tighten as you approach the brake run, but they usually loosen them right away before you pull back into the station. What I personally love about the restraints is that they come down on your thighs as opposed to your waist. So it leaves the entire portion of your body above the thighs completely free and open, adding to the feeling of needing to hold on for dear life. A lot of people claim that the restraints hinder the level of airtime you get because they seem to staple you in, but I disagree with this as well. While your butt may not physically leave the seat, that doesn't change the level of forces you experience from the ride pulling you in different directions. Now, I'll probably do a more in-depth review of this ride in a future video, but for now, let me just say, this ride is the perfect combination of intensity, laterals, and ejector airtime. Before moving on to the final portion of this video, I just want to quickly mention the new for 2020, Candymonium. As if this coaster lineup wasn't already superbly well-rounded, add in the new hypercoaster that will hopefully be opening this year, circumstances pending. Based on the videos, this seems to be a top-notch layout and should rank among the upper tier of B&M hypercoasters. Finally, I want to talk about the overall charm of this park. Now, when I say charm, I mean something different from the specific theme of the park. To me, charm is the way the overall atmosphere feels to the guest. And I gotta say, Hershey Park has a great deal of charm. Maybe because it's not a chain park like Six Flags or Cedar Fair, but this park just feels different from your typical theme park. It has a certain welcoming quality that is dispersed throughout the park, including beautiful scenery, quality food, and friendly staff. But don't just take my word for it. Check it out. Check it out for yourself. Guys, overall, I would give Hershey Park a rating of 5 stars and 2 thumbs up. And if you're someone who enjoys visiting theme parks, then I would highly recommend this as a must-visit destination. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review. Please like and comment below, and I'll see you guys soon.